Hello everyone. Today we shall start with synopsis for another chapter, that is chemical kinetics. In this chapter you are going to get theoretical concept as well as problems. So you should be thorough about all the formulas and the definitions which comes in this chapter. So let us go for those important topics which comes under this chapter, which are very important for your competitive examinations. So very first we can start from, so that is under the heading that is chemical kinetics. We can very firstly start with rate of reaction. As you know, there are different types of reactions. Some reactions will be very fast and some reactions will be very slow, and other set of reactions which are neither fast nor slow. So there are three types of reactions we can consider. So each and every reaction will be having its own rate of reaction. So then what is meant by that rate of reaction? It is nothing but the change in concentration of either the reactant or the product per unit time. So now let us consider one of that example. Here we have taken nitrogen and hydrogen, both are said to be reactants. Nitrogen, when interacts with hydrogen, you are going to get the formation of product. Which product you are going to get? That is ammonia. So initially we have started with the two reactants, one is nitrogen, other one is hydrogen. There the concentration of these two reactants will be very much higher at the initial state. But as the time goes, both these reactants react together and results in the formation of product ammonia. As the time goes, initially the concentration of the product will be nil. But as the time goes, there will be increase in the concentration of ammonia, that is product, and there will be decrease in the concentration of either nitrogen or hydrogen. Therefore, we can easily consider that the rate of reaction, it is meant with both reactants as well as the products. Therefore, the change in, it is nothing but the change in the concentration of either reactants or products per unit time. So, that is given by V. So, is equal to, that is plus or minus dC by dt. So, here we can say that rate of reaction is equal to plus or minus dC is change in concentration, and dt, it is time interval. So here change in concentration, for the concentration you can consider that the unit is mole per liter, whereas for time we can consider second. So when second goes to the numerator, therefore what is that unit for this rate of reaction you are going to get? Mole per liter per. Here you can say that in the formation of ammonia, the two reactants are involved, nitrogen and hydrogen. Here 1 mole of nitrogen reacts with 3 moles of hydrogen to give 2 moles of ammonia. So if we consider the rate of formation of NH3, that is equal to positive, because with the increase in time, there will be increase in the concentration of ammonia, because it is on product side. Hence we have to consider whichever the concentration will be given on right hand side to the reaction, then it will be represented by positive, that is product. Then it is given by d of concentration of NH3 by dt. And in case if we consider rate of disappearance of nitrogen, that is equal to minus d of nitrogen by dt. Why? Because as the time increases, the concentration of nitrogen decreases. Consumption of nitrogen to result in the formation of ammonia, it causes the decrease in the concentration of nitrogen. Therefore, rate of disappearance of nitrogen is given by negative symbol, because nitrogen is present on reactant side. Similarly, you can consider the same thing with respect to hydrogen. Rate of disappearance of hydrogen is equal to minus d of, in spite of writing N2, we can write what? That is H2. That is minus d of H2 by dt you can consider. And if you say that average velocity, rate velocity, that is represented by V is equal to plus or minus dC by dt. And here if you say that rate is equal to, we have to write that rate is equal to, first if you consider this product, that is ammonia, plus into 1 by 2 we are considering. Why you have written 1 by 2? Because here that number 2 represents that number of moles of product. Hence we have to write divided by 2. 1 by 2 into d of NH3 by dt. that is equated with minus d of nitrogen divided by dt. Here no need to divide by 2 because the number of moles of nitrogen is only 1. 1 by 1 is 1. That is also equivalent to minus 1 by 3. Why we have written minus 1 by 3? It is with respect to hydrogen. The number of moles of hydrogen is 3. Therefore, we can divide it by 3. That is equal to minus 1 by 3 into d of H2 by dt. Therefore, you can equate either these two or these two or these two. So, if one is known, you can determine the other unknown concentration. Therefore, we can say that here if you write minus, that is plus half d of NH3 by dt is equal to minus of d of N2 by dt. Then d of NH3 by dt is equal to the rate of formation of ammonia is equal to twice the rate of disappearance of N2 because this 2 goes to the numerator. Then minus 1 by 2 you will get, this is 2 is in denominator, but when it goes to the right hand side, then minus 2 dn of N2 by dt. What is that meaning? The rate of that is formation of ammonia will be equal to rate of twice the rate of disappearance of nitrogen. Like that we can equate. And next, which are those factors which affect the rate of reaction? Concentration, pressure, temperature, nature of reactants, surface area of reactants, and catalyst. Very first, if we go for concentration, you just simply remember with increase in the concentration of reactants, with the increase in the concentration of reactants, there will be increase in the rate of reaction. And of course, if we consider the gaseous reaction, if the reactants are said to be in gaseous state, like you can say nitrogen and hydrogen, here with the increase in the pressure, there will be decrease in the volume. As you increase in the pressure, there will be decrease in the volume. Hence, the concentration will get increases. Therefore, rate of reaction also get increases. Then, temperature. As we can simply consider, with the increase in the temperature, there will be increase in the rate of reaction. Now let us consider the rate constants for, that is rate constant for the same reaction at two different temperature. Let us consider it is at 20 degrees Celsius, it is 20 plus 10, that is at 30 degrees Celsius. If you take the ratio of these rate constants at two different temperatures which are differing by only 10 degrees Celsius, then it is exactly you are going to get either twice or thrice times will be increase in the rate of reaction. That means for every 10 degree rise in temperature, for every 10 degree rise in temperature, the rate of reaction will get increases by twice or thrice, or the rate of reaction increases by 2 times or 3 times. Hence, it is given in the form of ratio of rate constants. So, Kt, the temperature plus, given temperature plus, it is increased by how many degrees Celsius? 10 degree. Therefore, Kt plus 10 divided by Kt, either you will get the answer as 2 or 3. Therefore, it is with respect to the effect of the temperature. Next, nature of the reactants. So, the nature of the reactants, either the reactants will be covalent nature or ionic in nature. Hence the rate of reaction also depends on the nature of the chemical bond. It also depends on the nature of the chemical bond. Then, if you go for the surface area of the reactants, in case if the reactants, whatever you can consider, they are in powdered form, the surface area of the reactants will be more in case of powdered form. Hence, as there is increase in the surface area of reactants, active centers will also get increases. As there is increase in active centers, with the increase in the surface area, there will be increase in the rate of reaction. Got it? More the surface area, more will be the active centers, more the active centers, more will be or higher will be the rate of reaction. And as you consider the effect of catalyst, usually if you consider the catalyst, actually it immensely changes the rate of the reaction. Either it will be positive catalyst or it will be negative catalyst. Let us consider if you are using that positive catalyst, it increases the rate of reactions to the multiple times. That means it will immensely change the rate of the reaction. Got it? So as if there is a participation of any catalyst, it increases the rate of reaction. It increases the rate of reaction. Got it? These are the factors which are affecting the rate of the reaction. Then what is meant by specific reaction rate? So now let us consider the simple reaction general equation. M1 moles of A reacts with M2 moles of B to give N1 moles of C and N2 moles of D. By applying law of mass action, as you know, rate is directly proportional to active concentration of the reactants, that is product of active concentration of reactants. With respect to this equation, which are those two reactants, one is A and the other one is B. Active concentration are represented with square brackets, and here we can write the number of moles as the power, concentration power. So A to the power M1 and B to the power M2. Here therefore rate is proportional to active concentration of A to the power M1 into active concentration of B to the power M2. Therefore, in spite of writing rate, we can write V. If you remove proportionality constant, that is equal to K. That K is nothing but velocity constant or velocity coefficient, or it can also be considered as specific reaction rate. V is equal to K into A to the power M1 into B to the power M2. That is active molar concentration, we can say. In case if you consider active concentration of A is equal to 1 unit and active concentration of B is also 1 unit, like you can consider 1 molar 1 mole, like that unimolar concentration, then what happens to this expression? So V will be exactly equal to K. V will be equal to K because A value is equal to 1, it is also equal to 1. Therefore, V is exactly equal to K. That is nothing but it becomes specific reaction rate. Then how we can define the specific reaction rate? That specific reaction rate, it can be defined as the rate of the reaction when the concentration of each of the reactants are taken as unit. Whenever the concentrations of reactants are taken as unit, then only that specific reaction rate will be exactly equal to that rate. Therefore, it is the rate of reaction when the concentration of each of the reactant is taken as unit. Then, if you want to find out that unit of specific reaction rate, that is V is equal to K into, according to rate law, you can write V is equal to K into A to the power M1 into B to the power M2 for this general expression, that is general equation. Here, in spite of writing V, you know that, so velocity, average velocity is given as, velocity of rate equation or rate is given as concentration by time. So that is average velocity is equal to concentration by time, that is equal to K into, here these two are nothing but concentration terms, that is concentration of reactants. Therefore, we can write concentration to the power M1 plus M2. Hence, whatever you can consider that K, if you want to determine the unit for K, if you take it on left hand side, then concentration to the power 1 will be there. When this concentration to the power M1 plus M2, it goes to the left, first you will take to the cross multiply this concentration term will go to the denominator. When it is bringing that concentration term to the numerator, again here it is concentration to the power 1, but it is concentration to the power minus of M1 plus M2. Therefore, we can write the concentration to the power 1 divided by concentration to the power minus M1 plus M2 will be equal to concentration of M by N. We can take that is M to the power N by M to the power Z. We can consider N minus Z, like that. Here 1 minus concentration to the power 1 minus concentration to the power M1 plus M2, that is nothing but 1 minus M1 plus M2. So here the base will be same, that is concentration. Therefore, K is equal to concentration 1 minus M1 plus 1 minus of M1 plus M2 divided by time divided by time. So time will be left over here, that is time. Now K is equal to, what is that unit for concentration? Mole per liter. Mole per liter, and to the power 1 minus m1 plus m2. And what is that unit for time? That is second inverse. Second inverse. Therefore here that unit of this specific rate or specific reaction rate, here it is not independent, is not uniform for all the reactions, but it depends on the reactants also. That means here we can say that rate constant, that unit depends on the order of the reaction, because that rate law will be determined only experimentally, but not for any simple reaction we cannot consider the order. Only the order will be considered with respect to rate law equation itself, because it will be determined experimentally. Therefore, if you want to take the difference between rate and rate constant, here we can consider for rate of reaction, its unit is always mole per liter per time. That is, for rate of reaction, this unit of concentration mole per liter, and for time it will be like a second inverse, it will be constant always. But if you take for rate constant K, that unit will be, it is depending upon the order of the reaction, because this m1 plus m2 will be varied from one reaction to another reaction. Therefore, its unit will also be keep changing. Therefore, that is the main difference between the units of the rate of reaction and rate constant K. And if you say that rate law, it represents the experimentally observed rate of the reaction. Rate law always is determined experimentally. So it is depending on the slowest step, whichever the mechanism will consider for any reaction. In particular step, whichever the step is said to be slow step, then that slowest step will be helping to find out that rate law equation or the rate law. Next, with respect to order of reaction. So there will be different reactions with different orders. So order, there will be the value for order, it will be 0 or it will be fractional, or even it will be integer, or even you are going to get negative value. So then how we are going to determine the order of a reaction? It is nothing but it is the sum of the powers to which the concentration terms must be raised in an experimentally determined differential rate equation. That means according to that rate law, whatever you can consider that expression, that is experimentally determined rate equation you are going to write, then that experimentally determined rate equation will be having the powers raised to the concentration terms. Here we can say that the A and B are representing that reactants. It is the concentration of A and concentration of B, and there the number of moles with respect to that is represented by rate law. They are rising as the power. Got it? Therefore, the order is always determined by experimentally determined rate equation, that is obtained by rate law. That is experimentally determined rate equation. In whichever that experimentally determined rate equation, there you will consider that number of moles will be raised as the powers to the respective reactants. Therefore, V is equal to K into A to the power P and B to the power Q, means then order will be equal to, the order with respect to A is found as P experimentally, and order with respect to B is found as Q experimentally. Then the total order is equal to sum of the powers. So that is P plus Q, that is nothing but order is equal to P plus Q. Got it? Therefore, the order of reaction, it is the sum of the powers to which the concentration terms must be raised in an experimentally, that is most important, experimentally determined differential rate equation. So here, if you consider the examples, very first example, hydrogen combines with chlorine to give Cl. Here, you can consider this is that experiment, according to that experimental rate equation, it is that ordinary expression we have written, but whatever experimentally we have found that the order with respect to hydrogen is found to be 0. order with respect to chlorine is also found to be 0. Therefore, V will be equal to K into H2 to the power 0 and Cl2, that is active concentration of Cl2 to the power 0, it will be equal to 1. Therefore, V is equal to K for this reaction. Therefore, order is equal to 0. And another example. So, here that equation, hydrogen combines with bromine to give hydrogen bromide, formation of hydrogen bromide. With respect to this, whatever experimentally they have found, according to that rate law, V will be equal to K into active concentration of H2 to the power 1. They found that experimentally order of hydrogen is said to be 1 and order of bromine is said to be half, 1 by 2 experimentally. Therefore, what is that order? Order is equal to sum of these powers 1 plus half. So, that is 1 and half. Next, another example. Hydrogen plus iodine combines to give hydrogen iodide. So, with respect to this, the experimentally determined rate expression V, you will get V is equal to K into H2 to the power 1 because the order of hydrogen is said to be 1 and order with respect to iodine is said to be what? 1. Therefore, 1 plus 1 is equal to, that is equal to 2. Therefore, obviously we can easily guess that either those orders will be equal to 0 value or fractional value or integer or even sometimes you will get negative value. What is meant by molecularity of reaction? So if we consider any particular example, there you will consider both reactants as well as the products. In any elementary reaction, the number of molecules that must collide to result in the formation of product will be considered as molecularity. Here you can say, so N2O4 molecules will collide with each other to result in the formation of NO2. So here the number of N2O4 in this balanced expression, it will be equal to 1, hence it is unimolecular. If you consider this is that example, here two molecules should collide, hydrogen as well as iodine. Simultaneously they should collide with each other, then only they can result in the formation of HI. Only hydrogen, if it collides with another hydrogen, it cannot result in the formation of HI, as you know. Therefore, it needs two molecules, that is hydrogen as well as iodine, to result in the formation of this product. Hence, its molecularity will be equal to 2. Therefore, it is the sum, it is the number of molecules that must collide simultaneously in order for a reaction to take place. That is, for the conversion of reactants into products, whichever that number of reactants molecules they are going to collide with each other simultaneously, that is at a time, then that is said to be molecularity of that particular reaction. If you consider, it is another example. FeCl2, SnCl2 interact with each other, result in the formation of FeCl2 plus SnCl4. To obtain these two products, we require the collision between, that is 2 moles of FeCl2 with 1 mole of SnCl2. Therefore, we can consider that molecularity will be equal to 2 plus 1, that is equal to 3. Therefore, it is trimolecular reaction. In each and every elementary reaction, the number of molecules of the reactants will be nothing but the molecularity of the reaction. And once you consider that, once you know the definition for molecularity of reaction and order of reaction, then you should be much familiar about what is that difference between molecularity and the order. Here you can guess very firstly, that is molecularity, it should be always a whole number. It can neither be 0 or fractional, it is always a whole number. Therefore, it is neither 0 or fractional value. Whereas if you consider the order, it can be 0 or even it will be fractional or even it will be integer including negative value. And next difference, here that molecularity, it is independent on both pressure as well as the temperature. But whereas the order, it depends both on pressure as well as the temperature. And if you go for that molecularity, it is assigned for each and every step in the mechanism separately. Got it? Then if you go for order, but this order it is assigned for overall reaction. And lastly, if you consider, it is, that is molecularity, it is the number of molecules of the reactants, that is concentration terms taking part in the elementary step of a reaction. Whereas order is sum of the power raised in the rate expression. So what is meant by pseudo-unimolecular reaction? As the name itself indicates, it is not exactly the unimolecular reaction, it is pseudo-false unimolecular reaction. So here we can consider one of such example, that is acid hydrolysis of ester. We have taken here ethyl acetate as an ester. Here if you say during this acid hydrolysis of ester, the two reactant molecules, as you can see here, one is water and the one is ester. They are reacting with each other, that is in the presence of small amount of acid, to give respective, that is acid and alcohol, acetic acid and ethanol. But in this case, even though we are considering there are two molecules, according to this expression, there are two molecules are involved during this reaction. But for this particular reaction, the order is found to be equal to 1, because the rate of reaction depends only on the concentration of ester but not on the water, because water is taken in excess. If we change the concentration of water, it will not give any adverse effect on the rate of reaction, because which is taken in large excess quantity, that is water. Hence, it is said to be pseudo-unimolecular reaction. Then what is meant by pseudo-unimolecular reaction? It is the reaction in which order is 1 but the molecularity is 2. And if we go for another set of reaction, that is zero order reaction. What is meant by zero order reaction? Here, it is the reaction whose rate is not affected by the concentration. Whichever you consider any particular reaction, there the rate of reaction not at all depending on the concentration of the reactants. Got it? That means if you vary the concentration of the reactants, it won't affect on the rate of the reaction. Such reaction will be considered as zero order reaction. Example for zero order reaction, one is reaction between acetone and bromine. That rate of reaction, it does not depend either on the acetone or on the bromine. Got it? The order with respect to acetone is also 0 and for bromine is also said to be 0. And another example, that is dissociation of hydrogen iodide on gold surface. That dissociation of hydrogen iodide, either you take in a large concentration, higher concentration or lesser concentration, it won't affect on that dissociation. So therefore, that is said to be zero order reaction where the reaction rate does not depend on the concentration of the reactants. And if you want to find out that determination of half-life period of the zero order reaction and how that half-life period depends on the initial concentration or not, we are going to determine. Here if we consider rate constant of a zero order reaction, that is given as x is equal to kt. Then k we can consider time t on left hand side, t will be equal to x by k. And as you can consider here that x concentration, that is A is considered as initial concentration term here. At time t half, if time t is taken as t half, then x will be equal to half of the initial concentration A. Then t half will be equal to A divided by, that is in place of x you will write A by 2, then you will write k. Then it will be equal to t half is equal to A by 2k. Therefore, t half is proportional to A, that is half-life period is directly proportional to initial concentration of the reactant. Got it? Therefore, if you want to determine that half-life period, then you will be knowing that what is that initial concentration. What is meant by first order reaction? The first order reaction is the one which depends only on the one concentration term of the reactant. So here if we consider examples, all the radioactive reactions are said to be first order reactions. Then other example, NO, when it dissociates to give nitrogen and oxygen, it is also said to be first order reaction because it depends only on the one unimole, that is one concentration term. And Cl2O7 dissociates to give Cl2 and O2. It is also first order reaction. If you want to write that velocity constant of the first order reaction, that is given as k is equal to 2.303 by t into log base 10 of a by a minus x. And if you want to find out t value, then you can alter this expression. T is equal to 2.303 by k into log 10 base 10, that is a divided by a minus x, where you can consider that t is time and a is the initial concentration. A minus x is concentration after time t, that is interval time t. After that interval of time t, whatever the concentration, that is given as a minus x. Then k is nothing but rate constant. And here you can say that unit for this k will be equal as second inverse. And if you want to write that expression which relate rate constant and half-life period, half-life period expression for first order reaction is given as T half is equal to 0.693 divided by K. Remember this expression as well as this expression. Then here we can represent that graphically. So graphical representation, that is first graph, it includes the time t against log of a by a minus x. You are going to get straight line and a slope will be equal to minus k by 2.303. And you can draw another graph, that is by taking log of a minus x against t. You are going to get that straight line, but it is sloping downwards. And similarly, if you take a second order reaction, here that rate of reaction depends on the two concentration terms. Hence it is said to be second order reaction. And for that, if you write the expression K2 is equal to 1 by T into x by A into A minus x. But in case if the concentration of A and B are taken as different, then you can write that expression as K2 is equal to 2.303 by T into A minus B into log of B into A minus x divided by A into B minus x. And you have to consider even the half-life period for the second order. Then T half is equal to 1 by K2 into A. Here you can easily guess, for zero order reaction, the half-life period was directly proportional to initial concentration. But for first order reaction, half-life period is independent of initial concentration because there is no term A. But here it is inversely proportional to initial concentration in case of second order reaction. That is, in second order reaction, half-life period is inversely proportional to initial concentration. Lastly, we can go for table of family. That is with respect to K values and T half values for zero order, second order as well as third order reaction. If you start with zero order reaction, so here you can guess that is it is the integrated rate equation delta A by delta T is equal to K into RT concentration, that is 8 to the power 0. But in case of differential form, dx by dt is equal to K. And here that unit of rate constant will be concentration for this, and for this it is time inverse. Whereas half-life period, T half is equal to A by 2K. That is K naught, it is representing K constant, rate constant for zero order reaction. And if you go for first order reaction, K1, if you consider as a rate constant for first order reaction, K1 is equal to 2.303 by T log base 10 A by A minus x. For this, what is that unit of rate constant? That is time inverse. And half-life period, T half is equal to 0.693 divided by K1. And even if you want to find out T3 by 4th life period, T3 by 4th life period is given as it is equal to 2 into 0.693 divided by K1. And next, if you go for second order reaction, rate constant K2 is equal to 2.303 by T into A minus B, that into log of B into A minus x divided by A into B minus x. With respect to this, what is that unit? Mole inverse, liter and time inverse. And T half is given as T half is equal to 1 by K2 into K. And in case of half, that is in spite of half-life period, you will take 3 by 4th life period. T of 3 by 4 is equal to 3 by K2 A. And even one more order reaction, that is third order reaction. The rate of reaction depends on three concentration terms. And this third order rate reaction, K3 is given as rate constant. K3 is equal to 1 into 2a minus x divided by t into 2a square, that into a minus x whole square. And here if you say that in case of differential form, it is given as dx by dt is equal to k into a minus x to the power 3. And what is that unit? Liter square, mole to the power minus 2 and time inverse. And t half is given as 3 by k3 into a, that into half. So you have to remember all these expressions which are most important for our examinations. Finally, we can go for important graphical representations. Here there are three set of graphical representations for zero order, first order, second order and third order reactions. You should remember all these graphical representations, and you should be able to differentiate these different graphical representations with respect to which is especially with respect to zero order, or it is first order, or it is second order, or it is third order. So very firstly, here the first row of these graphs, it is with respect to the graphs which are plotted by taking rate against initial concentration. You have to identify according to the given question whether they are asking to represent the second order or first or third or even zero. Here if you start with zero order reaction, when you plot a graph of rate against initial concentration, then you are going to get horizontal line which is parallel to x-axis. It is representing zero order. But when the graph is plotted by taking R against initial concentration A0, then you are going to get the straight line. It is said to be first order. But if the graph is plotted by taking R against A0 to the power 2, then you are going to get straight line, then it is said to be second order. When you plot a graph of rate against A0 to the power 3 and you are going to get straight line, then it is said to be third order. So here you are getting straight line, here you are getting, it is horizontal line, parallel, but all the three are said to be straight lines, but only difference is it is A0, it is A0 to the power 2, it is A0 to the power 3. And next set of graphs where you are getting the graph by plotting a minus x against time t. Here only it is a minus x against t if you are getting that slope downwards, and it is said to be zero order. But by plotting a graph of log of a, it is not very only a minus x, but it is log of a minus x against t, that is sloping downwards, it is said to be first order. But you are getting, there is an intercept in this case, you are getting the straight line here with intercept value, and that is graph is obtained by plotting 1 by a minus x against t, then it is said to be second order. But for third order, here it will be the graph obtained by plotting a by a minus x whole square against t, and you are getting straight line with intercept, that is said to be third order. That is how we can distinguish here. And finally, if you go for plotting a graph of half-life period against initial concentration, how we are going to get different graphs. For zero order reaction, you are going to get straight line passing through the intercept, then it is said to be zero order. T half is plotted against A0. But same T half is plotted against A0, but you are going to get parallel line for the x-axis, then it is said to be not zero order, but it is first order. And similarly, if T half is plotted against 1 by A0, then you are going to get a straight line passing through the intercept, then it is said to be second order. Here also with respect to this third order, you are going to get the graph of straight line passing through the intercept by taking T half against not 1 by A0, but it is 1 by A0 to the power 2. Hence, it is said to be third order. So, you should be thorough about these graphical representations. This is about the synopsis regarding chemical kinetics. You please go through all the formulae and the definitions, and I am going to solve different problems in the next video session.